I realized, talking about money as a Christian, that is very triggering for Christians. So I made a post about my 9 to 5 to Wealth community, which is a group business training program. And I made this statement, and I say it often because that is the revelation that God has given me. And that is that the world teaches us to earn money, but God's way is for us to multiply money. And it's not just a revelation that God gave me in my spirit. It's actually in the word, and I'll prove it to you. So I made this post with this statement, and someone commented and said, "Oh, that sounds like the prosperity gospel. I hope you're not pushing a prosperity gospel." And I'm like, not me. Ooh. If you know what I've been through when it comes to persecution and actually facing the loss of my first business because of my faith. So I'm just like, and so now I'm triggered. And my response was this: I teach what God says in Deuteronomy 8, verse 18, which is to remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to get wealth. You see, when I was at one of the lowest points of my life ever financially, I cried out to God, which, sidebar, when we go through those very low points, that is often what God uses to get our attention. And for me, it definitely worked. This was a really, really rough time in my fashion business. And I'm just like, God, like, what is happening? And He answered. And this is the revelation that He gave me. He told me that I was running my business, my fashion business, as if it was a 9 to 5 because I was exchanging my time for money. And He revealed to me that you cannot generate wealth by exchanging your time for money. And I was like, you see, I've been an entrepreneur for over 15 years. And one of my biggest issues, total transparent moment, is control. You see, as a fashion designer, as someone who's very creative, I'm like, that dress needs to be exactly how I sketched it, how I imagined it. And the only way to do that is if I make it. And even when I would have seamstress make it, or when I would outsource, I would still be too hands-on, too involved with the creation. And what that was doing was stifling the growth of my business because I'm working in it, all in it, and not giving enough time to working on the business, like marketing and just improving certain structures within the business. So me sewing everything and me being hands-on in all the construction of every garment, and then on top of that, not charging enough, it was hindering the growth of the business, and it was keeping me trapped in what many people are trapped in, which is exchanging their time for money. For all of that, I might as well have just gotten a job. The second thing that He revealed to me was that I wasn't investing a portion of my income in assets that generate money passively. So everything that was earned was through labor, was through me exchanging my time for money, even as an entrepreneur. I know, doesn't make sense. Crazy. And this right here, this next revelation, I mean, all of it was mind-blowing, but this right here, I mean, He revealed to me that wealth can only be generated through multiplication, and multiplication only happens through investing in assets, whether that is real estate, whether it's in the stock market, buying bonds, or owning a business, entrepreneurship, investing in a business. Multiplication can only happen through investing. And that revelation led to this revelation, that the world teaches us to earn money, but God's way is for us to multiply money. The world teaches you to go to school and get a good job. But through a job, you earn money. Through ownership, you multiply it. And we see this principle in Matthew 25, the parable of the talents. Because I know some of y'all are watching this and you're like, sis, where's the proof? Where is the proof? But then some of you are watching this and you know within you, this is bearing witness with the Spirit of God in you. So in the parable of the talents, right, we have the master giving his gifts, his talents to 3 of his servants. He gave each servant a different amount, right? Now that's another topic for another day, right? He gave each servant a different amount. And this is what it says about the servant who received 5. Then he who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. He traded with them. That means he did business. And you can't do business without investing. Meaning he took the 5 that he received. He invested that 5, right? So he could have taken the 5 talents, which in this context, it's money. But the money doesn't just represent money. It represents everything that God has given you, right? So it could be a talent, it could be a skill, it could be your resources, everything that God has given you. He took the 5 talents, he took that money and invested it. He traded with it and he generated 5 more. He multiplied what he was given. One of the first things that God said when he made creation, when he made Adam and Eve, is be fruitful and do what? Multiply. Even nature bears witness of this. Fruits, vegetables, they bear witness of this principle. So some of us are frustrated with our jobs. You're working all of these hours. You're putting in all of this labor into your 9 to 5. And you're frustrated because it's not yielding the fruit that you know you could have, that you know you could generate. And that's because we're working on the earth system when it comes to generating money instead of inquiring with God on what his system is and working that system. Now, this is not to say that you should just go quit your 9 to 5 and that if you have a 9 to 5, you're in sin. I'm definitely not saying that. But what I am saying is that does not have to be where you stop. And that does not have to be your only source of income, but rather, and this is what I teach in my business coaching program, that your 9 to 5 is your seed. It is where your seed for the business, for the investments is. It is in your 9 to 5. For me, it's just beyond me that the world understands this principle. The world is operating by this principle. The wealthy people that you see and hear of or even know, they are operating by this principle of multiplication. My message is not follow Jesus and he'll make you wealthy. Absolutely not. My message is follow Jesus, do what he has commanded you to do in his written word, be led by his Spirit, and be a good steward over all that he has given you. And good stewardship is multiplying what he has given you, because that is God's way. That command in Genesis to be fruitful and multiply, that wasn't just about having children. That was also about creating God's children, creating disciples. That is God's principle. That is what God has called us to do. And guess what? When we are faithful in doing what God has called us to do, when we multiply what he has given us, when we apply his principles as it relates to finance, then we put ourselves financially in a position to advance God's kingdom on a greater level. So we don't have to sit and wonder why there aren't any appropriate television shows or movies for the children. Because God has raised up kingdom financiers who have applied his principles as it relates to business and money to generate the type of income to create a solution to the things that many of us Christians are frustrated about and complain about in the earth. So you see, I'm clear about my assignment, and that is to be a vessel to raise up kingdom entrepreneurs who will remove the limitations off of their income and recoup their time so that they can do more of God's work and spend more time with their family and be a solution, be Josephs in this generation. That's my assignment. And if that makes me a prosperity preacher, then y'all just got to call me what y'all want. But listen, he who has an ear to hear, let them hear. And he who don't want to hear it, I don't know what to tell you. Okay? But he who has an ear to hear, like and subscribe, okay? So you can get more of this content and you can hear more of this word. And I just want you to be encouraged and know that God cares about every area of your life, including your finances. The solutions are in Him. The wisdom is in Him. And He will lead you and guide you to people, to resources, to information to help you birth what He has put in you, the solution that He has put in you, and the answers to the problem that you're facing.